And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the RSL Rival StarCraft League Season 5 Playoffs Day number 3 co-stream. We are back. We have returned here with the second half of the broadcast. We just wrapped up with Classic versus Shin, and Classic is now out of RSL. Shin will advance on instead into the next round. Likewise, we have another elimination match. It's going to be a ZvT between Rogue and Bunny. Oh boy, once again, another elimination match here. Winner moves on, loser is out of RSL. Coming into this, we have our initial 5 maps. We have Celestial Enclave into 10,000 feet, Exarch, Missing You Today, and Necropolis. Oh boy. So we have our initial 5 games here. Again, we do incorporate a custom map pool with some voted in maps. Again, I'm not too fond of the idea of featuring Missing You Today and Necropolis just because they're not a part of TLMC, but regardless, we're getting into game number 1. And spawning in the right hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the blue Terran player. It is Bunny from South Korea, and in the bottom left we have Rogue, the red Zerg. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we delve into our best of 5. And it's going to be an interesting one here. Rogue is going to be favored coming into this, of course. He is one of the best direct players in the world. At the same time, Bunny can be a Titan himself. I'm going to have to echo what Hero said recently about Bunny, and that is when Bunny's like in form, when he's practiced and well practiced as well, he's an absolute beast. But the reality is, as of late, Bunny hasn't been practicing too much. He hasn't been playing too much. Like, he is a little bit more out of shape than peak Bunny condition. So as a result of that, I have to lean a little bit more towards Rogue. But it depends, because if Bunny has been practicing leading up to this match and has been grinding, then again, he can pop off and he can look insane. So we'll see what kind of Bunny we do get.
Pretty explosive. You know, I would love to get some more long StarCraft matches here between these two, but let's see where Bunny wants to take this CC first build. Sometimes when Terran players opt for a CC first, even though obviously it's nothing super aggressive like a 2x Reaper opening or a Proxy Marine opening, but CC first does transpose very well into timing attacks in the mid game if you want to go that way, whether it be 5 racks or if mass third CC into 8 racks. Your economy just coming online a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, often is the push that you need as a Terran player to get you over the hump of actually breaking a Zerg if you want to commit for some kind of aggression.
Yeah, and something actually that Clem brought out, I believe on this map as well versus Rogue in the series that Rogue lost, was a fast CC, a CC first into a 3 racks Marine as well. So, and that actually did a lot of damage. It forced a lot of lings, killed a lot of lings, killed some drones. So that could be something that maybe is on the cards. The double gas from Bunny makes me feel like, yeah, it's not going to be that. It's going to be the factory follow-up, though, so not going to be that exact same.
It's important that they bring up the fact that even though Bunny went for a greedier opener, it can lead into these stronger timing attacks in the mid-game. Right now, we're just kind of looking to see if Bunny goes for a third CC or if he goes for a 1-1-1.
Kind of accustomed to him going for those very early mid-game focused attacks. Not someone that tries to prolong the game super long like a Clem or a Maru that tries to really...
Also, once again, as we get into this, we are going to be co-streaming. We're co-streaming, which means we do have both State and Gemini that are going to be the main casters, and we are here to react stream, if you will.
He's one player who, you know, I think I can recognize that he's become more well-rounded with time, but he's one player who, when I think of Bunny in peak shape, it kind of reminds me of a Terran player from a long time ago, Select, where so much of the gameplay is just focused on drops being sent in so aggressively, sometimes even without a scan, simply because Bunny doesn't want to telegraph to the opponent that there is a drop coming in with 3 or 4 medevacs. He's willing to take that risk. Since then, it feels like Bunny, he's spread his wings a little bit. He's able to play a much more stable macro game if he wants to. He's able to play a game on the ground and focus on pushes in the mid game.
So when it comes to our players, Bunny's going for a 1-1-1 follow-up. This is very aggressive delayed third CC, and so far Rogue has no idea. Meanwhile, Rogue does open up roaches. So again, Rogue is a roach boy. He is very fond of his roach heavy play. It's a very safe way to open up, a very safe way to play, and this might be ideal against a much more aggressive Bunny. So very safe follow-up here out of Rogue.
To scout that out. So Hellions will be able to pop out here and be able to try and deny some creep, check any...
Question for Bunny is, does he go for additional Hellion production into an armory, into a Hellbat push with Stim, with Vikings, and with just non-stop aggression, into a 2-base all-in, is what we're alluding to.
Yeah, Bunny is for now picking a couple of Hellions down at the natural expansion. This could just be him trying to make sure that he's safe versus any Ling counterattack coming from Rogue. but it can also lead to him trying to go for some sort of timing as Rogue with one Overlord right
So
now.
it sounds like the casters didn't recognize that there is no third. Again, lack of third base, and yep, 2 base all in. We have a 3-1-1 setup without a third.
Is a force to keep the Hellions under control. And Rogue, I think in a moment, too, will also be taking a 4th base. He went for the very fast 3rd hatchery there at the backdoor expansion here on Celestial Enclave. But keep in mind that the 3rd base here on Celestial, if you do take that backdoor expansion, it's only got half the mineral patches or so. It's only got 1 Vespene Geyser. So the 4th hatch timing, very critical here for Rogue.
Jesus, getting up to 5 Raxes on 2 bases. That's insane.
Will be able to help with that, so
Scat is denied.
Be a little bit in the dark and also slightly supply block, but the extra Overlord's coming in, so we'll be able to make sure he's able to keep producing. As the units will start to move across for Bunny to try and get that map control and also threaten anything, but the roaches that Rogue made in his defense to make sure
these are safety roaches, not all in.
We'll be able to dissuade those for now. He's actually just going to
Rogue is joining
across the map. The Viking will see this, so Bunny
Hellions a
realizing
bypass.
where those roaches are, we'll be able to just send the Hellions around.
Oh, he commits. Roaches, they race back home. Ooh.
Thinking that the roaches alone will kind of trick Bunny into just wanting to be very defensive. Will, of course, now throw those back, and thankfully the Queens were in position, so no crazy damage.
He throws it back.
Yeah, I don't think Rogue would have gone for that move with the roaches unless he was confident in the defensive setup back at home. And part of Rogue going for the backdoor expansion is him getting the flexibility to make maneuvers like that, even though he didn't really get any damage done with it. You know, the wall on it, the natural expansion that he has with the evolution chambers, with the Queens there, blocking the gap, it makes things very nice and safe here for Rogue, who is really filling out his tech tree. He's getting 1-1 upgrades right now with Melee and Carapace. Infestation Pit also started. I think Rogue is probably angling.
Rogue is taking up quite a bit, actually. He's getting ready for Hive Tech when Bunny's not expanding.
I think just requires a couple more drones here at the 4th base.
And here comes the all-in.
He's going to be in a really good position to go up into Hive and potentially Ultras, but Bunny's going to try and stop him here in the mid-game. There is no 3rd command center yet, right?
Yeah, I believe there hasn't been one made just yet. He's really
Yeah, they're just now pointing it out.
These barracks that he's got set up currently. He's not even got add-ons on some of them. So yeah, he's really trying to get as much production out as fast as possible. So you do try to skip those extra reactors just to get.
This is where I bring this up a little bit here when it comes to the RSL casters. It applies to all of them. For whatever reason, they're very adverse to calling an all-in. They're I don't know why, but they really do dislike kind of like calling that out. Nice round though. Roach is coming from behind. Gets 1, gets 2 tanks. Oh my god.
Tries to come on back to save the tanks, but unable to do so. Still a
very
lot
nice
of Marines
wrap around.
in this, so it's still going to be a tricky defense.
But there's still so many Marines. Can he break through? It's close.
Yeah, Marine count
Oh my god.
out, but there aren't very many roaches here left for Rogue. Another stim going to come through. 2 more medevacs are also reinforcing. That's going to provide a lot more healing, but I think the Marine count is just high enough to keep these roaches back.
Yeah, too many Marines. As I mentioned, Rogue was too greedy against the all-in. Rogue was taking up into Hive Tech, by the way. Like, that's how greedy Rogue was. So greedy.
Versus the +1 infantry weapons.
But he has enough.
I think Rogue might barely be hanging on, but it'll be hard to push Bunny out of this position.
Yeah, 1 tank still is there. There's going to be
so Rogue, he's got 3 Avengers on the way. He's got 3 Avengers in production.
On the map, so once those join up, well, actually there's one already right there as well. So once we get all,
we'll see if we can get on top of the tank. Here come the Biles.
A couple Biles getting thrown down on that first.
Ooh, gets 1.
We'll be able to kill that as well as a medevac
as well.
Really nice. That one does get killed off as well. As much.
And Rogue holds. Yeah, Rogue, he does hold on. Despite the greed out of Rogue, again, Rogue here droned up to 3 base saturation, joining up his 4th base. He was taking him into the infestation bit as well, and Rogue, he barely holds on. Whew.
Yeah, Bunny just continuing to parade push across the map, rallying more units here into the center. Will likely be trying to push back the creep of Rogue.
And remember, Bunny has no 3rd. Like, Bunny, like, this has been an all-in from the beginning. We called it as soon as we saw the 1-1-1 into 3-1-1 setup. It eventually went into 5-1-1.
He has 3 Spore Crawlers, one of them currently morphing in. And Bunny might send it anyway. He drops 1 Marine, a sacrifice to the roaches here.
Dude, would hate to be that guy.
Yeah, that's unlucky.
Gets pushed out the medevac by his friends. Like, yo, guys, please, no. Like, we can see it from up here. You don't need to send me down.
You gotta.
And in the face of this all-in, Rogue starts the Hive. Crazy, that'd be crazy. It's a very bold move, as that does mean less roaches, less ravagers.
With 1 more push, there might even be an SCV pull, or at least a small one here for Bunny if he has to commit with this, because I don't think you can easily transition out of a 2-base timing attack like this one with no 3rd command center, with no 2nd engineering bay or armory.
This is what I mean.
It's really all coming down to this, but Rogue, he has a.
I don't know if you notice, he's like, it's hard to transition out of this 2-base timing attack.
Here from Bunny, nice position from the tank, going to make it very difficult.
There's a reason why it's called an all-in.
as the Marines start to move
I
on
can't
forward,
with
trying to
these
get on top of
guys.
these roaches. Rogue not really realizing just yet. We'll be able to throw some bios and then disengage for now, trying to get more reinforcements.
It's got to be an internal meme like amongst them. It has to be. No shot.
Engages a well thought out position from Bunny. That choke point on the right hand side is really difficult to attack into with the tanks as well. A single Ravager on the left hand side, but now some more bios getting thrown down onto
This
that
one
tank
gets 2
line. We'll
tanks.
be able to kill
Running out of roaches though.
but there's still so many Marines here.
Oh, it might be just enough for Bonnie. The Ravagers, once they connect with the Marines, they start
boys
to
are being
melt, so
pulled. Roaches went down to the
Drones have
tanks.
Some sort of front line.
Can he break through?
Bile's going to connect.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that bio was actually huge because also a tank shot, I think, got off onto those Marines. So really losing quite a few of those. And now it's going to allow Rogue to make a defense with that drone pull.
He can't bio. Tank's too far away.
Really great, but if he can still just make this defense happen, then it's still okay for him. Because again, Bunny is so committed right now. He's still only on 2 bases, going full all in with his attack.
He said it.
Drones transferring now for the main base. And the
Gemini, he broke. He had to say it.
He will be able to resaturate the 4th expansion.
Like 5 minutes into the all-in.
And Rogue, for now, it seems like he is able to push Bunny.
And Bunny, he admits that he has failed. Like he was so close to breaking through a couple of different times here. He did do a lot of economic damage, but despite that, he's still down in workers. He starts a 3rd CC. He backs off. Bunny, he admits that he cannot kill Rogue, and Bunny, he will fall behind here.
Near threatening army? I don't know.
No, I completely lost it. It's gone, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. But this is Bunny looking in the short term right now, trying to end the game. He wants to, I think I was going for nearsighted.
A nearsighted attack. He needs to get his glasses set up.
Short-sighted, but sure.
The Marines are trying to jump on in, trying to get a snipe on that main lane. That's not enough of them, of course. We'll just try to move some units over to the main as he does go to the right-hand side with the majority of the army. So it's just a distraction as he tries to lay more pressure on this forward 5th base location from Rogue, but Rogue is well ready for this. He's got plenty of units, of course, that creep.
So the one thing that is helping Bunny is that if you remember, he did kill 14 drones at the 3rd base. Sorry, at the 4th expansion, where Rogue had to pull the boys and he did lose the mineral line. So losing all those workers, and Rogue has not re-droned, by the way. So Rogue, his economy is not as big as it once was.
That's very good at cleaning out the ground. Actually,
can he get some of the tanks?
Rogue going to just dive in on this position. Bile's
gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Oh my god, Jesus.
Completely evaporates. And now the Roaches and the Ravagers actually connecting with the Marines, pushing them back. That's going to be GG. Rogue takes the win. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was a nice moment there from Rogue, identifying what that army was trying to do. It wasn't fully quite set up yet. The Liberators weren't there either. And just Rogue kind of realizing that I think his army just was eventually outscaling at that point, was getting a little bit too big.
GG.
Bunny's attack.
GG, well played. Hyper aggression out of Bunny. I will say that it felt like Bunny did everything correctly. What I mean by that is that Rogue, he failed to scout. He tried to a couple of times, sending out overlords in towards the bases, but every single time Bunny, he denied the scout, he denied the overlord, to the point where Rogue was being too greedy, in my opinion. He was droning up heavily. He was taking up with the infestation pit. He was getting ready for his hive tech. Despite the all-in coming his way, I thought that it might just be too much greed. And Bunny did get damage done. He did push his way in between the bases, but Bunny barely didn't have enough. And it was close. It was close when it came to Bunny's committed push, when it comes to his all-in that he did attempt. Was able to fight for it, was able to make Rogue sweat, but Rogue eventually got away with it. To the point where Rogue even made a hive. Didn't need it. Couldn't make use of it. It was, again, it was greedy. Like, it was so greedy for Rogue to get the pit and to get the hive as well in the middle of the all-in. That didn't mean there was a much more difficult defense that otherwise needed to be there for Rogue, but he held nonetheless. GG. GG, well played, and now we're going to be loading into game number 2. Let's go.
Bunny, despite the fact that I think Rogue might have been actually a little bit confused from that build. He was even checking the scout for a 3rd command center a couple of times there with Lings on the mini-map. So Rogue able to hold on. He's spawning down here in the bottom right, leading this best of 5 series 1-0 as Bunny spawns in the top left as the blue Terran.
Yes, 10,000 feet will be the map. And as I've said multiple times throughout this map being in the pool, it is a very defensive map overall. You're able to defend very well on these 4 bases. There's a couple ramps and just kind of the locations of the bases are very close.
Kind of.
Does favor some kind of longer macro plays. You see some players try to go right for that, just setting themselves up very defensively. Other players will try to just deny that as quickly as possible, as we saw Shin try to do that versus Classic earlier today as well. But
I'm glad that Gemini brought it up, because I was about to push back when it comes to Gemini's characterization of the map itself. What we always say about this map is that it is a map that favors momentum. And for example, Classic versus Shin was a very short game on this map because Classic got caught out on the map, lost his army, and then Shin snowballed out of control. The reason why this map does favor momentum is because of the short rush distance by ground. Yes, the 4 bases are very close together, but if you overextend, if you take a bad fight on this map, the punishment for a bad fight is insane. It hits so quickly, so hard, so fast. So we'll see how Bunny approaches this.
Some kind of mid-game push. It comes if you're playing it on 3 bases, not on 2 bases, because I think you just need to have enough presence on the map that you can actually perhaps even get a siege tank in position to start shelling the I don't know how quite to describe this, the central forward base here for Rogue, the one that, like, if you go inwards, this expansion right here, I don't know exactly what the phrasing should be for this one, but there's some pretty good siege tank positions that you can find here at this more central base on Rogue's side of the map. And Rogue, he might expand linearly across the bottom, trying to take the base first at like 7 o'clock or so first. But usually after that, you do take that forward expansion just because it's so centralized. It's harder to defend the expansion all the way down to the bottom left corner.
Yeah, we see the SCV just being a little bit annoying versus this drone forcing it off, and we'll actually buy some time for that Reaper to get here as well, so we'll be able to help deny some of this mining, try to get a drone if possible, but nice micro from Rogue will be able to keep
this time a standard open out of Bunny.
Lose anything early before the Queen is out.
Eyes are on Bunny for the starport.
Is he not making any lings right now? Oh no, they got sent across the map. Sorry, I wasn't even paying attention. Okay, so yeah, they did go across the map, so they found their way around that.
Ooh, third CC.
We'll be able to get the confirmation scout of the factory following up, as well as that, of course, command center doesn't see the third CC being made in the main base, so that was just out of vision. So we'll have to find that out a little bit later.
Yeah, so this is a much more standard economic opener out of Bunny, as opposed to last game where he did commit into a very strong, very heavy 2-base all-in. This time it's going to be a 3CC 2-1-1. Do you see that second racks in the production tab? So you're going for a second racks before the starport. So this is going to be a around 5-minute 30 to 6-minute stim timing for Bunny.
Up against the main command center there in the top left corner. So
basically it's an economic variation of 2-1-1,
especially given the way the last game went, because Bunny went for a 2-gate base all in. That means that Rogue
he said it.
got to be a little bit more careful here versus Bunny. And in fact,
fun fact, Stay just called an all-in after the game, as he never said those words during the game itself, but once we're done, okay, we settled in. Let's go.
Very defensive. I feel like I've seen Rogue do this before, but I can't
that might have been the first time he said all in the entire season. Oh god.
At some point did go for some, fast Roach Ravager or something.
The game, he's probably done this multiple times because this build has been catching on in popularity. And I can't remember if the game that I casted from Rogue doing this has been in GSL or RSL. I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. There's just so much StarCraft happening right now. Even StarCraft 1 is going on. But the game that I remember from Rogue was very unique. He went for a layer timing like this one, and then he built a Spire. And behind the Spire, he made basically nothing but Mutalisks. So you might be thinking, well, of course, if you're going to be playing Mutalisk versus Terran, like if you go Spire, you're going to be making Mutas. That's a no-brainer state. You're stupid. What are you talking about? Well, the thing was, the way that Rogue had played it, it was like he was basically only making Mutas. Usually you have a big accompaniment of Banelings and Zerglings, but it was almost like a Brood War-esque, just like pure Muta army coming in from Rogue.
So really Status talking about 2-base Muta, which we have been seeing quite a bit of as of late, from the Korean Zergs, from Solar, Shin, and from Rogue. That wasn't this build, though, because often that build relies on a gasless opener.
It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, for now it looks like he's definitely.
Like we had no gasless opener this game.
Getting, the Carapace upgrade, he's getting the Roach speed.
So I do think that it's something worth bringing up when it comes to the greater conversation about the series, but it's not applicable to this game.
Or he might even just try to throw his own army across the map as well. But for now, it's just going to be the drones, making sure he can get this third base nice and saturated, and then we'll be having a couple Roaches out early to threaten things.
Just like last game, Rogue, he makes Roaches, he pushes out, and he drones behind it. So Rogue, he's trying to feign aggression and trying to fake out his opponents.
A good amount, not a lot amount of Hellions coming out.
I say that.
Right now.
That's 5 more Roaches on the way.
Studio, and we're kind of losing our minds. So we just.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was, but
some old person's like sneezing outside or something.
Oh, was that? I thought it was like a PA announcement, but I don't think we have a PA system in this building. Anyway, the noise canceling headphones are pretty good. I hope they didn't get picked on the mic.
That's so funny.
Anyway, Rogue continuing to power up right now with Roaches. He's actually playing at less than 3-base saturation, only 56 drones. So he's focusing on.
So as I mentioned, this is the 3CC 2-1-1 timing. It's hitting at 6 minutes.
And that tells me that Rogue is likely getting ready for one big fight here versus Bunny. Either he's expecting Bunny to be pushing across the map in short order?
I mean, she's
Rogue is
preparing for the
expecting
double
to
drop.
across the map himself and potentially pressure Bunny, because 9 more Roaches, 5 more Ravagers, that is a fighting force, Gemini.
True.
Yes, it's going to be 2 medevacs in the main base first.
Rogue is
to really be
committed.
able to kill off this queen and again get on top of some of these Roaches.
He does not join up his third.
He realized there's a little bit more than he asked for right there, so we'll be loading up immediately and getting on out of there.
And remember what we said about this game in the beginning, 10,000 feet favors momentum, and right now Bunny, he's going to be deflected. That does give the opportunity for Rogue to push across map because so much supply is devoted into the drop, which means there's less to defend back at home. And here comes Rogue. Here he comes. He's pushing.
Rogue is trying to be with this attack right now because they are being sent across the map right now. This third base currently doesn't seem like it has too much to defend.
So again, Rogue, he does cut workers at 55. That is under 3 base saturation. It's going to be a 2.5 base all in. Tank production is only 1 tank. Can he get on top of it? He can. No, he gets it. Oh my god.
The Roaches one-shot the siege tank. Now
He
they're
gets
in the natural
1.
expansion.
He gets 2.
There's 1 more siege tank to take out. It gets a good volley off one of those Roaches, but
Oof.
with more units streaming across the map, this just seems like it might be too much. Bunny, half of his forces are in the center, trying to intercept everything, and I think the Roaches actually caught them.
Yeah, they're all dead, and Bunny is out of this
GG.
game. Rogue with a very swift attack after that very fast lair build coming on out. It was not just some defensive Roaches, it was setting up for that earlier attack as well. Slightly later than maybe what you might expect from that fast lair, but still very aggressive and very committed. And Bunny just completely caught off guard, didn't even realize that that was happening at all.
These 2 hatch lair plays that Zerg players are doing in ZvT are some of my favorite builds that we've been seeing, both in the RSL and GSL recently. It feels like this is catching on way more than ever had before, because going for a fast lair, it's not something completely new, but it's finding a lot of success right now, especially with the variants that players are going for, whether it be a Spire and then a range.
For those that who haven't been watching Open Cups, this has been very common throughout the entire year. 2-base lair tech. Again, it's been very common amongst the Korean Zerg players, and it's been permeating throughout some of the European Zerg players as well, if you recall. But mainly thinking of players like Solar, Shin, and Rogue for quite a couple of months at this point. But as they're kind of alluding to, yes, 2-base lair tech play has been a lot more common from all 3 of them, of course, and it's been a bunch more difficult for the Terran players to keep up with that kind of aggression, to keep up with the amount of builds available, because you can go 2-base lair into a macro game, into a Roach all-in, which we already saw. You can go into a Muta all-in, or even into 2-base Hydra all-ins as well. There's a lot of different like variations and permutations like of follow-ups from lair tech. But GG well played. With that, Rogue is up 2-0. He's up 2-0 here. In regards to how the builds kind of compare to each other, because of the lower Hellion count, because of the 2-1-1, there was limited scouting, limited information for Bunny. And of course, he was relying heavily on that double drop because Bunny moved out. That meant that there was an opening back at home, right? He had that much less to defend back at home. As we mentioned, momentum was in favor of Rogue, as there was very little to buffer for the tank. Bunny, he missed the push. GG well played. With that, we're going to be going on a break. We'll be back soon with our next game. See you soon, Pappy. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the RSL. The RSL Revival StarCraft League Season 5 Playoffs Day 3 co-stream. We are currently mid-series, or mid-series here with Rogue versus Bunny. And so far, it's feeling like a very short series here. Rogue is up 2-0, and we're hoping for a back and forth regardless of who wins. I want to see a game 4. I want to see a game 5. I want some more StarCraft, Pappy, but the pressure is now on Bunny. So far, Rogue has been hyper-aggressive. I mean, both players have been hyper-aggressive. Game 1, Bunny went for an all-in. Game 2, Rogue went for the all-in. Game 3, whose turn is it to all-in? Let's go.
More interesting maps that we have here in the pool and RSL. And just to rewind the clock a little bit and go back to game number 1 and game number 2, one of the things that's so impressive about...
And this morning in the top left-hand corner of Xark, we have Rogue. Bottom left, we have Bunny. Let's go. Let us go. When it comes to our spawn locations, we have a close spawn locations, by the way, not cross spawn, not diagonal, so we're right next to each other vertically, I should say. Bunny does look to get sent out second SCV. Oh, sends out to SCV. He's going for the proxy. Let's go. He's cheesing.
So unlikely that you're going to, as the other player, scout cross map into the watchtower first. It's just so rare that you go for this. But we still have a very fast pool coming out from Rogue.
Oh my god!
Expecting this possibility anyways.
And it's 3 barracks. All right, forget. I was getting ready to fill like 2 minutes of time, Gemini. We don't need.
Is this a build or a win? So very quickly here, Bunny's going for a 1-base all-in, is going for a proxy 3x. At the same time, Rogue went gas first. Because Rogue went gas first, that means he'll either have fast roach production or fast link speed, regardless early pull as well. So in the end, Rogue is playing very aggressive as well, and we'll see who that favors. I lean towards Rogue.
Himself already with this fast gas coming through. Unfortunately, he's going to be in the dark about Bunny's proxy 3 barracks in the center of the map. And now Bunny, he's going to have to send an SCV scout to find the location of Rogue.
He'll find him
Rogue could be spawning
instantly
anywhere right now. And look at this, Bunny, he's getting the first scout.
Oh, dude, this is... Everything is going Bunny's way right now, so he's like, except for the fact that I guess there's an early pool. That's the only thing that's actually a pretty important thing that's not going his way. But the fact that the scouts coming through is very good. He will get the information, whereas Rogue will not.
So Bunny now knows it's a late hatchery, so he knows it's an early pool.
Because of course he just won't know when this is happening as
banging up.
As Bunny, of course, is going to be attacking. So the Marines coming out 3 at a time.
You can see Link Speed is on the way, and Rogue stays in gas. He stays in gas, so he can go for a Roach Horn, but again, a Roach Horn is not feasible, not this early on. He confirms.
Get that information
he sees
before they're at the front of the base, so that's massive intel for Rogue.
Yeah, that is the critical timing for Rogue.
The queen's already out.
But can he actually save the
very fast first queen?
Rogue need to find a response.
Spine's on the way.
Base. The queen is coming down to defend.
Boys
The
being
drones
pulled.
are getting pulled. Bunker throw down right now by Bunny is going to block the
that's
entire
around.
left side of the mineral line. Zergling's going in for a flank. So far, Rogue, he's been able to
the flank does fail. Marines are pushing in.
Continuing to rise.
Bunny has momentum.
He's not going to stop this whatsoever. Of course, the drones here trying to help out. Just buying as much time for more lings to get produced at this point. A spine crawler also getting made at the
the
top.
stutter stepping. Drones are going down. Can he deny the bunker?
Be able to keep those
he can.
And, lings away, trying to surround
He
them.
tries to, but it's going to finish. No,
really
it
good for Bunny
finishes.
so far as the bunker also finishes.
Spine is done.
Bunker is done. Spy crawler, it's coming down the ramp. I think that might have to go back up to the top because there are way too many Marines. More lings getting produced, but unfortunately for Rogue, these lings are getting produced at the natural expansion in range of a lot of these Marines. Rogue still pivoting down with the spine crawler. Marines actually.
Yeah, I think Bunny. I think he's breaking through again with the bunker being finished here. I feel like this hatchery is going to go down, but Rogue has to commit. He has to commit to try to save it.
Position the spine. He wants it to find the perfect angle where it can hit the bunker, and the bunker cannot hit it. Hatchery down to 400 HP, Gemini.
All right, he's able to get in range with that spine crawler, so that's going to help out a lot. He's trying to use some transfuses on the hatchery to keep it alive for just a little bit longer, buying as much time as possible, but the Marine count is still looking pretty good. The Speedlings will
catching
be able
reinforcements,
to catch
not bad.
reinforcing Marines, but the hatchery does get killed off, and now these Zerglings are going to try and go across the map
there's a full wall.
Again, trying to pick off any reinforcements they can, force these Marines away, but the battle is won for now for Bunny. He's been able to kill off this natural, and he's gotten full control of it, even killing off that creep tumor. Might even be able to jump up and kill that queen if he wants to, but the spine crawler, of course, still there. And so far, this is looking, again, very good for Bunny. He's going to have to transition somehow. But
yeah, again, I'm surprised that Rogue, he tried to fight for his natural. Nice surround here with the lings. Does connect well, but the bunker is still up.
I think that might just be
GG.
Rogue calls it. Only 11 drones left, and so Bunny is able to take a cheeky one there on Exarch. He's getting on the board. It is now 2-1.
Yeah, very nice. Love to see that.
GG, well played. We have a back and forth. We have a series. That's all we wanted, Pappy. That's all we wanted. Again, all the stars lined for Bunny. Bunny, he didn't just get his proxy going unscattered, but he also scattered the location of Rogue, so he actually hid his army a little bit longer before moving up the ramp. From the side of Rogue, again, the early pull, the early gas means that he had more aggression available to him, but he stayed in gas after getting link speed, so that was otherwise wasted resources, and on top of that, he did try to fight for the natural for the low ground, which I'm not too fond of the idea of doing that. I mean, to be fair, there's a world where maybe Rogue does hold if he denies the bunker, right? That was the big kind of linchpin there, as the bunker did finish, and with it finishing, he could not save the expansion. There's a world where maybe he can get on top of the SCVs and maybe focus them down in time, and without a bunker, suddenly we have a much more secure position. The spine crawler can push forward a little bit further here. There's less of a staging ground for Bunny, and maybe a different outcome. But GG.
That we have here in the RSL, a 4-player map by proxying everything in the center, and now he just has to win 2 more maps to actually go on to the next round. But you know, Rogue, when it comes to a straight up game versus Bunny, he has been looking so good. Let's see if Bunny can deliver magic again here as map number 4 is loaded up.
It's been nothing but all-ins this entire series. What are you talking about?
I like that Bunny went for that as well, being down in that scenario. I mean, it takes a lot of balls to be able to, at a 0-2 deficit, go for a full-on proxy in the middle of the map. So he probably was expecting to do that regardless, given the way that the map pool was set up for this particular match. And I like that he stuck to his guns there. He just wanted to go for it, and it ended up working out very well for him. And now Rogue is going to be the one that's going to be a little bit more aggressive with the proxies, as he's going to be sending out a drone to perhaps put down a proxied hatchery.
Yeah, so we have a hatch block here out of Rogue. A very cheeky start. This has, again, been quite common as of late. Even watching players like Shin and Rogue have been very fond of incorporating this into their openers, into their builds, to delay the economy of their opponents. We've been seeing this a lot against Cure, against Maru, against Bjorn, and against Bunny as well.
Committed? Is he going to just kind of use it to distract and then just macro behind it? We've seen both of them being used in this matchup. I believe Rogue tried this versus Clem in their matchup as well earlier on, and I think Clem just kind of overall defended it nicely and then just kind of won a longer macro game after that one. Rogue wasn't able to quite, keep up with that, so we'll see how committed he wants to be with this. Of course, the spawning pool getting thrown down now as well.
True.
An extra drone is about to leave the base.
That is an earlier pool, a later third hatchery.
To make a hatchery back home, or is he
hello.
To go make a
spine
crawler across? It looks like it's going to be
Rogue. He's committing.
Yeah, this seems to be a very aggressive variant of this. This is what he did versus Clem. You were talking about this was one of the builds that Rogue utilized in that matchup. All right, Bunny actually pulling SCVs to try and deal with this. That's going to cue Rogue to pull the drone back away.
This is already worth it for Rogue, by the way. He's forcing all these SCVs off the middle line, and they're not mining, right? They're not mining. This is all economic damage.
Or you go for this move where you pull around 8 SCVs, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, and you just focus it down with the little drills that those SCVs have got, and that's going to be the play here for Bunny.
That drone also kind of going back and forth.
Yo, can we gas steal? Can we steal the gas?
He can. We'll deny the gas as well. That sneaky little drone finds its way in. We'll be able to get a little bit more information and possibly keep some of these units back home as well, because that's going to be a big important part, of course, since there's not going to be any.
Oh my God!
Did he? Oh wow! The Reaper actually able to slip away there, almost getting caught on the minerals by the the broodlings. That would have been really bad for Bunny if he lost that, because then that's all of his map control gone, which he should have as a default with how these builds are going. Yeah,
Rogue tried to get the surround right there and just barely missed getting the full surround on that Reaper. Luckily, Bunny was able to keep it alive. And now we have a game that is potentially going to normalize.
Ooh, can we delay again? He wants to delay.
He wants to get this SCV again. He was already able to pick it off with 2 lings popping out of the larva from the proxy hatchery. And he's waiting for the Reaper to leave before he moves it again.
Oh, I love this.
It's go time.
Rogue. Oh, this Reaper is going to be
it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
One Marine, and it's
no, it's going to finish. He's too late. Yeah, he's a couple of seconds too late.
So now these 2 Marines actually on the bottom side here will be able to get killed off. Does actually get them in a nice little position, so they will be able to trade out as efficiently as possible. But still, this is a nice little move from Rogue. Unfortunately, he missed the timing on the command center, and he actually will lose a drone on the backside as well. So there's only 1 queen out right now. He needs to be very careful not to lose any more.
Oh, one more drone, very low on HP.
He gets 2 drones.
Looking worse now.
Yeah, well, this command center is also quite low, and that might have to get repaired later on. But it's not burning just yet. And Rogue, okay.
Whoa,
hold on, what is happening?
Is dancing with death over here, man.
Yeah, Rogue, I think, even did the double take right there when he saw that the supply depot was actually lowered, not raised. But now there are Hellions out on the field, and the Slowlings. And not particularly good versus Hellions or Reapers, so these will get cleaned up here by Rogue. You can see them all just trying to scramble, heading in every single direction, see if any Lings can survive. And from here, the game has the potential to normalize. Rogue is going for a lot of drones back at home. He's continuing to build up the queen count.
It's important to bear in mind that Bunny is going for a 3rd CC behind this, so Bunny is going for an economic follow-up here. So we're building up into the mid-game. Likewise, Rogue is still not getting a 3rd base. Going into 2-base lair. Ooh, okay.
Going for the gas take as well. He made a lot of Lings who try to pressure my natural expansion. If you go for that kind of early pressure as Rogue, you can't easily follow it up with another timing attack. And so Bunny knows that he is safe right now in the mid game, and he goes for a very greedy 3rd CC.
Yeah, I do love that response. As it's also going to be that fast lair coming in from Rogue yet again. So it worked very well in the previous, in the game before. And so he's going to be trying to go for that again, even off of the proxied hatchery. So we'll see how well that's going to be able to do for him, as the Viking will be out right now and start to kill off some more of these overlords. Rogue got to be careful not to lose too many of those, because obviously you wasted a little bit of your economy earlier on to go for this proxy hatch play, so you don't really want to be replacing overlords so frequently in the early game. So we'll have to be very careful with that, as the Reaper will try to jump on and get that scout, as the lair is actually morphing in the natural, so he needs to make sure he jumps down there to try and get that, but I don't think he's going to.
But how many kills does this Reaper have? Is that the 3rd or the 4th drone that it was able to pick off?
Yeah, that's brutal.
8 kills in total on this Reaper. I think half of those are Lings, but that's at least the 3rd drone it has been able to pick off.
Now, as we settle into our game here, for the first time, Bunny's playing macro, in the sense that he's building up in towards the mid-game. Rogue, he likewise had a bit of a shakier start. Missing you today is a larger map of the map pool, larger map, longer rush distance by ground, more defendable bases. If we were ever to get into a longer macro game, it would be on Missing You today.
He hasn't gotten that information. He did see an extra gas being morphed down at the natural from the high ground, but he doesn't see the other important information with it. Oh, no, he did see that layer. Never mind. I'm lying to you guys. I'm a total liar. I don't even know what scouted that, but something did. Anyways, he's got that information apparently. So he will be able to respond accordingly as the Hellions just trying to kill off some creep at the front and just get any extra poking.
Yeah, 1-1 upgrades coming in here for Bunny. I would have loved to see Bunny just recognize.
So Rogue has resources for +1 range if he wanted it. The fact that Rogue starts out 4 overlords, doesn't get the second upgrade despite having the evasion. No, okay, never mind. Second upgrade is on the way. I was gonna say that because of the high overlord count, he might just commit, but Rogue, he's still droning, still saturating. He has no sign of aggression yet.
Pace, at least with +1 Carapace right now, as Rogue is opting to go into Roaches here as a mid-game play.
Yeah, the Hellions still trying to find whatever they can. We'll be met with a couple of Roaches, but we'll
we're
see
taking
if there's
up.
no fourth base coming down just yet.
We're getting into our infestation pits, in towards infestors, into hive tech, into what should be ultra tech as the kind of end goal here for Rogue.
As we do have the infestation pit coming in as well for Rogue, so is this... No way he goes Swarm Host, right?
What?
I think it's likely going to be another move in a Hive with Ultras.
Yeah,
I mean,
it should be Hive and Ultras.
Go for Roaches because it's not super larva intensive. You're able to do it on a relatively low economy. And then you power up with these 3 bases, you get the infestation pit, you start the Hive, you take a 4th and you go into Ultras. It's a really strong play. We'll see when that Hive actually does get started. Rogue went for this on Celestial Enclave. He got the infestation pit, he started the Hive, and the moment after the Hive started was when the 5 racks hit. So Rogue had to cancel it and put everything on, invest everything into just trying to survive.
I'm surprised that he's able to do this just off of 3 bases. I thought this would surely be something that you do off of 4 bases.
Oh,
but
it's
yeah,
a low economy play often.
Yeah, the fact that you can get it off of 3 is good. So he will be able to go into that as the Vikings still is able to get a couple more overlords. But yeah, this is going to set him up very nicely, of course. But Bunny doesn't want to let that happen just yet. His army is really large right now. He's really powered up off of this fast.
Rogue hasn't seen this move out. He's getting safety infestors, but this might just be too much.
So his army is going to be so threatening onto this.
I like how I'm like, oh, it's a larger map, longer rush distance by ground. We can finally embrace the mid to late game. That's not going to happen. Bunny's here, and Rogue is not ready for this at all. There are 0 Ravagers.
And that means that Rogue has to cancel this hatchery. This timing is a little bit too strong for him to deal with right now. +1 Carapace and rage weapons ready here for Rogue as the engagement is taking place.
What do we say? The pants are down. Straight up, just the pants are completely down here for Rogue.
How do you even kill this many units right now? Rogue has got nothing. The infestors
he has nothing.
Nice fungal. Crazy fungal does get thrown down onto that group.
He's got one more.
But unfortunately, there's not that much follow-up, so he's not going to be able to kill all these just yet. And there's so much more
GG.
from the reinforcements. And we are going into a game number 5 after it really did look like Rogue was in full control of this series. Bunny's managed to actually wrangle this one all the way back.
I actually didn't catch how many barracks that we had in that game. Was that an ARAX build coming in for Bunny? Because it hit with so much behind it.
Yeah.
I think the assumption is ARAX, but even if it was, that wasn't necessarily. I think this was a lower rate Rax count.
Looks fairly standard here for Rogue.
But GG well played. Basically, Rogue was being quite greedy, getting his 4th base, working up to hive tech without scouting across the map. That's all was greedy about it. Rogue, he just didn't see. He just didn't see the bush, didn't see the move out. Bunny, he just walked across the map, 0 scouting information out of Rogue, and he just died. Like again, the pants were caught down, and with that, Bunny snowballs out of control, and now we're going all the way to the ace match. We're going to game number 5. Oh boy. And again, I was like, oh, are we finally going to be able to calm things down between the 2 players? No. Nah, Buddy just walks across the map and just kills Rogue. And now we have the final game. It's going to be the ace match. We're going to be loading into Necropolis. And honestly, this can go either way. This can go either way. Something that we can now say with certainty is that it's probably going to be aggressive. Like, we're not going to slow things down. We're not going to get to like 4 bases into like 80 workers, like hive tech. Like, no. It's been non-stop aggression for both players. Necropolis is an interesting map in the map pool. I believe has a high ground natural base. So really secure 2-base setup. It can incentivize, say, CC first, for example. It can incentivize some more economic openers, and we'll see how our players do approach Necropolis. Let's go.
Spawning down in the bottom right, looking to confirm the reverse sweep. Blue Terran player Bunny. Rogue the red Zerg in the top left. What a treat this series has been. Really, Bunny just coming back to life after that proxy 3-rack.
See what just happened?
Number 3, risking it all.
Nothing gives a Terran hope as much as a 3-rack being successful.
I mean, we laughed.
Yeah, do you see what just happened? State he regressed in his tendencies where he actually had a proper intro for Bunny, right? He went, and in the bottom right hand corner we have the South Korean term. Like he gave him a proper intro, and then he realized what he had done. He's like, oh, I don't want to get shamed out of the studio because no one does intros in RSL, and then he just skipped over Rogue's one. So is it curious? I don't know why, but Tastosis, they got into their minds that like intros were a negative thing, so they stopped doing it, and of course with State joining the GSL broadcast, like they push out into State, and of course with Tasteless controlling or running RSL, like that's occurred here with these with the RSL covers and casters as well. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I'm not too fond of it personally, the fact that they avoid that sort of thing. We spoke about it last time, but it's an opportunity, especially when you have like an audience, like to hype up players and to talk about them and to like discuss the players themselves. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that they're not too fond of it.
In the RSL, every time he's tried, he's been getting kind of knocked out pretty early.
Like their rationale is like in other sports they don't introduce the teams whenever they start a game. That's true, but StarCraft isn't like other sports. Just because that doesn't happen like in other like sports like that doesn't mean that like we have to follow suit. So it's kind of weird.
Consider for best, but he's never really had a long period of dominance, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
But occasionally,
also for us, we're biased because we have the fanfare. You know, we gotta have the fanfare, Pappy, of course.
So good, and I would love for him to be starting one of those moments here in RSL Season 5. I mean, being able to upset Rogue, one of the best Zergs in Korea at the moment, especially after going down 0-2 in the first couple games, could be a really good indicator for where Bunny is going to be at later on in this RSL.
Yeah, Reaper tried to get some damage, of course, and does get brought pretty low itself, but will be able to stay alive and doesn't really kill anything itself either. So early game is pretty normal here as a Marine also tries to find a stray Overlord if possible. But it's going to be the factory coming out from Bunny on the...
Are there balls in this game, though? True. The Novas, Pappy. The Purification Novas.
It will be a very standard opener, just as normal from Bunny going into some Hellions to get that mid-game control. And Rogue, of course, going for that fast Ling speed, will not be going for the super fast layer this time, not staying on 2 bases. Will be getting that third himself as well.
Bunny able to pick off another Ling.
Okay, so Hatch Gas Pool, much more standard opener here out of Rogue, claiming his 3rd base. Meanwhile, Bunny across the map. I think Bunny went for a 1-1-1. We haven't actually panned to the main base of Bunny, but I don't believe he got a 3rd CC. He's actually going Marauder. Are we going for a Hellbat push with Marauders? We are.
A lot of good plays by Bunny, and look at this Gemini.
I mean, there's a variation without Hellbats, which is Hellions.
Viking first. Now, the Viking might be just to clear Overlords on the path. This could be like an old school throwback to Hellbat Marauders.
Yep. This is like Gumiho special, I feel like, right? I feel like he was one of the first players to do this. So hyper aggression out of Bunny is going to double down, is going to commit. We're going to have Mass Marauder, we're going to have Hellions, the Vikings to deny vision, deny scouting. Rogue will see if he can catch wind of what is going on. seeing that tech lab and from seeing
there's the army for the Hellbats
popping out as well. You might just see that and think it's Stim getting researched, so that's still fine. I don't even think it saw the tech lab. It might have just barely got a glimpse. Okay, very briefly.
That is a tell.
You just kind of think that's Stim being researched potentially for a fast, Stim attack or something like that. Although, still, the option is there for this fast concussive Marauder.
So something that we have to very quickly bring up here is that what's important is that Rogue, he saw the 111. Remember, 111s are not standard. What is standard is the third CC. So Rogue, he knows that something aggressive is going on. He doesn't know how aggressive, but he knows that this is an aggressive build. For now, Rogue is still joining us somewhat, and what is scary is that Rogue has no Roach Warren or Bailey Nest. It's going to be a Ling Queen defense out of Rogue, which is possible, but very difficult. He's heavily reliant on having a high queen count. He has 6 queens so far. That's a low queen count. That's on the lower end of things, and here comes Bunny.
Now the Marauders are landing, the Hellbats are transforming, and what does Rogue have to actually hold on? Well, the answer is a lot of queens, and that's pretty good against
7
this.
queens.
Not much energy for transfuse.
Sorry, 8 queens.
Yeah,
okay.
Be able to jump on the right-hand side.
Oh, no transfuse.
The medevac actually boosts away in time, despite being so low on HP. Will stay.
Yeah, no transfuse. 1, 2 queens going down, and we have a transfuse towards the end here. Can we barely hold on? No, we're losing more queens, but we're running out of Hellbats. We're down to 5 Hellbats.
A lot of these units still
down to 4.
Alive for Bunny, as there's really nothing on the unit tab right now. The Lings just now spawning, but it looks like for now they will be able to help clear this out.
Rogue is holding on. He does focus on every single Hellbat. Did lose a bunch of queens, but he protects the mineral line. More Lings are flooding in, and Bunny barely does not have enough.
Medevac is going to give a little bit more life to this push, but Rogue has already weathered the storm. You know, Bunny, he's just trying to trade out as effectively as possible right now. He is already preparing for the next phase of this game by throwing down a 3rd command center.
Oh, he wants a medevac.
Sure that the medevac cannot
he zones away.
Units confirms the kills on those Hellbats and Marauders. And, you know, one of the reasons that we saw this build kind of peter out in ZvT, I think, is because a lot of Zerg started playing for a much more queen-focused early game. You know, it's just such a good all-around offensive unit. But even though I think Rogue wasn't particularly keen on what was happening right there, I don't think he was absolutely clued in that Bunny was going for a play like this one. The queen count was just naturally so high there for Rogue. I mean, it might have been 7 or 8 queens that we had in total between the natural expansion and the third base.
It was 8 queens, if you recall. Something that I will push back against is that, remember, Rogue did scouts. That's why we try to emphasize that Rogue, he saw the 111, so he was already making Zerglings at least to help defend, to help fortify himself. He didn't have a strong defense with no, like, Roach Warren or Bailey Nest, but it was still barely enough. And again, he was clued in to not overdrone and not to be overly greedy and not to oversaturate as well.
And it really does buy so much time. So if you're not allowed to actually get on top of any,
as Bunny's 3rd CC is very late.
Goes on for a while, but it seems like nothing really gets done too much. So yeah, Rogue will be able to make that defense, and now it's kind of up to Bunny to try and come back into this a little bit, because of course you need to cut quite a few SCVs to make this attack work. And you're using those early units as well. So he's trying to use just the medevacs to just kind of pull everything away. He's trying to send some units on the left-hand side as well to clear some creep. We'll be able to do that, but for now, I feel like Rogue is definitely liking his position in this 5th game.
Oh, Rogue is in a tremendous position, especially because, as you said, as Terran, you have to make a lot of economic sacrifices to go for a play like this one. Bunny, he can't have everything now as he transitions into the mid-game. He's going for the 3rd base. He added in the extra barracks. But he's doing this at the cost of having no upgrades. There's no engineering base on the map right now. There's no 1-1 upgrades here for Bunny. He recognizes that if he tries to go for the upgrades...
Most pro sports introduce starting lineups in the USA at least. Oh, there you go. There you go.
So what is Bunny going to do?
I don't watch sports balls, so I take them at their word.
Usually the strength of this build is that it lasts a long time. You're able to constantly recharge and rejuvenate your forces with more reinforcements.
Doesn't it introduce the players? I think, sorry, I think their rationale was specifically against introducing players for every game, because in other sports, like, they do that at the beginning, but then they don't do it again, which I think that does track on. I think.
But just to quickly wrap up my point, the fact that +2
but that's my assumption, because I don't watch I don't watch the NBA or the AFL or NFL or NRL.
Very concerned about his position.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to get on the map really quickly here. He's trying to get as many Marines out as possible.
Sports ball, yeah, sports ball.
In production there, if I was not mistaken. But the Hellbats actually getting caught in the middle of the map. I don't think Bunny...
Like, I still push against that, because again, I feel like just because that's something that happens in other sports, that doesn't make it applicable to StarCraft. But I think that's their rationale. now.
To keep those alive in the actual push, because now that's basically a large portion of his army that is now gone right before he's moving across the map with his main attack. So that's not going to be the greatest situation for Bunny. His army is still quite threatening, but like you said, no upgrades is going to make this much more difficult. There's no sustain for this attack right now.
The moment that +2 Carapace is done, I think it's going to be light.
When it comes to the game itself, Bunny's all in. Bunny, he's 3-based all in, he's committing, and right now they're just discussing that the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Rogue. Rogue is getting better upgrades, Hive is on the way as well, Burrow's on the way, Rogue is amassing a greater army, Rogue has a greater economy. We got to end the game soon, and here he comes Rogue!
So Rogue, +2 Carapace is done, +2 Melee is finishing up, he is going to stream on in, and Bunny with a pretty good split, actually an excellent
the spread, oh my god!
Is able to take a good trade, but there is just too much here for Rogue.
Yeah, he's going to be able to batter this down. There's just so much coming out from Rogue right now.
This is the best fight that Bunny could have hoped for, by the way. Bunny, he spread beautifully in that fight, and he does trade as efficiently as possible, but he was just too far behind. He was too far behind. He still did not have enough. Again, he dragged the Banelings in. He had so much tank target firing on the Banelings as well, but he still breaks through. GG.
Caster moment as Rogue does win and Bunny loses in the 5th game.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a nice defense, and Bunny, like you said, like he's just got so much, it's just such a burst potential. You have to get that initial burst, and if you don't, no upgrades, no reinforcements really, it's going to be so hard to actually close that out.
It's one of the reasons why we don't see Marauder Hellbat pushes very often anymore.
Yeah,
is you can't really transition easily out of them, and if the Zerg plays a queen heavy style, you're kind of dead in your tracks, right? And so
something you can't easily transition out of. What do we call that? It was an all-in. Bappy was an all-in, and once that failed, Bunny was in a very rough position. Now, when it comes to that kind of build, and when it comes to not killing your opponents, if you're at least able to break into a mineral line and kill some drones, and maybe that can help equalize, and then you can try to stumble your way out of it into a longer game. But as we saw, he didn't even break through all the queens. I want to say 4 queens went down in the end. Rogue did hold the line, and with that, GG well played. With that, Rogue, he does claim the series. But a shout to Bunny, because I'll be honest, especially after the first 2 games, I was concerned that it was going to be a 3-0, right? I was concerned it was going to be more one-sided, but no, Bunny, he fought back. He fought back with some proxy 3x in game number 3, and then in game 4 we saw some more aggression as well. So it was great to see a little bit more out of our 2 players here, and great to see a full series as well. GG well played. Rogue did claim it, and Rogue was favored, but Bunny did make him work for it. Did make him work with it in the end, so GG well played. With that, we have the rest of our bracket here. Let's quickly zoom in. So on the top side, tomorrow we're going to be casting Solar versus Hero and Clem versus Lambo. We have 2 series, 2 best of 5s tomorrow evening in the upper bracket, and then next week we do have the rest of the event with 3 series back to back for 2 final days of RSL. So 3 days remaining, 2 weeks left of the RSL playoffs for here season 5. Oh boy. So a lot of content, a lot of StarCraft is on the horizon here. Again, we'll be back tomorrow with day number 4. That's it. Day number 4 of RSL. Otherwise, if you want to check out some other StarCraft events, at least related to this event in its own way, we have GSL. We have GSL coverage. Bearing in mind that State and Tasteless, they do cover this on the mainstream. We have our own coverage of GSL as well that we do live cast via Clean Feed. So we co-stream RSL, but we live stream GSL. So big shout to Super for providing the clean feed and for allowing us to cast as well over on Super as well. Meanwhile, a big shout to Archon Studios for sponsoring the RSL, for sponsoring the event. They have created the StarCraft Miniatures tabletop game, and they are going to be released and sent to pre-orders, or pre-orders going to be sent out towards the end of the month, I believe. Towards the end of the month. I know there was an AMA recently, so we're probably going to get confirmation as to when that's going to be sent out and when that's going to be shipped. So do look forward to the tabletop miniatures game. I am, and I'll do my best to paint and do an awful job at it. I've painted 1 Space Marine, 1 Warhammer 40k Space Marine in my life, and I still have it somewhere. I still have the 1 Marine. That's all the experience I've got. So I'll do my best to paint it well. It'll be an experience, of course. It'll be an experience. We'll do our best. Look forward to it. Otherwise, gonna be wrapping up. He only watches StarCraft. It's true. I do. I watch a little bit of Brood War. I used to, at least, but that's all I got. That's all I got. With that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. Again, if you want to support the RSL, you can do so via Patreon. !RSL is the command in the chat. I'll take the link to the Patreon page of the RSL. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the rest of our broadcast schedule. Very quickly here, we can have a look together. Bam, there we go. So if you see this, our schedule this week was a little bit leaner. The reasoning for this is because I did lose my voice on Tuesday. Basically, I was unable to finish the Kung Fu Cup cast, and I ended up losing my voice at mid-finals, where I just couldn't handle it. The reason for this is because the GSL finals over the weekend, we did live cast it, and it was very intense. It was very, very intense. And my voice was very strained after the GSL finals on Sunday, and then I could definitely feel my voice like struggling on Monday, so we did skip the Wardy TV Monday cast, and then we still covered the Tuesday event, and then I couldn't finish it. So we did decide to cut a bunch of broadcasts and to make it a bit of a leaner week, so we could rest and recover, and that's why you can see some missing broadcast events there, whether it's in the morning or the evening. We still casted once a day, at least once a day, even twice a day. Like this is what a leaner week looks like for us. We still cast multiple times a day, but a little bit less. You know, there was still some patches in our schedule. We just wrapped up with our Saturday evening broadcast. Tomorrow morning we'll be live with the rebroadcast of the GSL round of 12, Group B for season 2 for this year. So that's going to be tomorrow morning, and tomorrow evening in 24 hours live with day 4 of RSL. And that will wrap up the week. So still plenty of content, still plenty of casting, still plenty of StarCraft. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for GSL and RSL. We'll see you then. See you tomorrow. Until then, ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.